Welcome, welcome to today's episode of Embodied Divinity. I am so excited to share with you the powerful couple I am interviewing today. Bas and Priska are a Dutch-Swiss couple dedicated and devoted to love in all its forms. In the center of their teaching lays the realm of love relationships and the healing of the wound between the masculine and the feminine. Bas is a men's coach and supports his brothers in discovering and developing a strong sense of their unique masculinity. And Priska is guiding women into remembrance of their strength and embodiment of their innate truths. I am so excited for you guys to hear everything they share in today's episode. Get ready to feel the heat. See you on the inside. Welcome everybody to the Embodied Divinity podcast. I am so excited for you guys to meet Bas and Priska. You heard all about them in the introduction. Thank you two so much for being here.
Thank you for having us. We are deeply honored to be here on this beautiful podcast together with you.
Absolutely. I'm so grateful. I would love if you guys just want to take a moment to tell us each individually a little bit about who you are and specifically how you became the person sitting in front of us today.
That's a juicy question. Would you like to start?
Should I start?
Let's start.
My name is Bas. I'm from Holland or the Netherlands. I'm 51 years old, and I am a men's mentor and a relationship and intimacy coach. I work separately with guys, and I work together with Priska with couples, women, men, individuals, and all in between. And how I became the person that I am today, I will try to keep it as short as possible, but it really has been a journey because I had to go through so much trials and tribulations to really explore and find out who I was as a man in this world of today. And I really had to unlearn so much and relearn so much and redefine and break away and rebuild in order to become the guy that I am today. And maybe we will talk a little bit more about it in this podcast, but it's a lot, and I cannot put that all in like a little nutshell. But it's just about reinventing myself and keep on loving myself and having compassion for my journey in order to reach the place where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm Priska. I am Bas's partner in life, love, and business. And I'm also stepmother of two because he's a dad of two. And I am a relationship and love coach and expert. And I also, it's like my soul's heart's love to work with women, to really helping them finding their voice and to really reclaim their sacred feminine within. That's something I really truly love to do. And I'm also a priestess in the making. I don't want to call myself like that yet because I'm still in my initiation process, but it's like this path of the sacred feminine is something that I'm deeply, deeply drawn to. And also this path of love and relationships. And what made me who I am today truly is just my history, is my life. Life is the initiation, right? And it always brings exactly the right things on your path where you can grow, where you can bite your teeth, or like what's the word? Like push. No, there's another word that you just can learn and grow and overcome the obstacles. And it's just an ongoing journey and it's never ending. So I'm in my becoming process still.
I love those answers. And the reason I asked that question is because I'm really passionate about taking us all off of our pedestals so that other people can say, wherever I'm at, there is potential for me to get to somewhere that feels better. And that's one of the things I love about you two and the way that you work with people is you never sugarcoat your journey. You never say it was easy. You never say I was always this way. You're always so transparent about who you used to be, how you got to where you are, and even the stuff that happens now that aren't perfect. And I think that's so important. So I'm so excited to have you guys here. For all of you listeners, I'm super huge fan of these two. I actually joined their Hieros Gamos School, which you're going to be hearing all about here today. And I joined it because both Bas and Priska are so powerful at embodying the divine feminine and masculine. And I really felt like it was my next step to embody all of the parts of me and coming into alignment with all of the parts of me so I could welcome in my partner, so I could find more flow in my life, so I could really honor my spirit. And I just wondered, as you were creating this school, what kind of created the need for it? Because if you look around society today, you see men and women not really fully in alignment with their essence. And I wonder, does that have to play a part in it, or why were you inspired to create this school?
Maybe you should start because it's
Yeah.
your seed.
Yeah, I don't, like the thing is this, I have to maybe just draw the circle a little bit wider. Like we have been working with especially with single women, but also with couples for the last 5 years, I think. And of course, we have seen a lot of, we have seen a lot of things happening in relationships, and also beliefs that came up that in single women that would love to find the love of their lives, but have these all these ideas about how men are, and we just realized there are so many woundings still between men and women, and also of course in our own stories, where we realized, okay, I didn't know this about men, or he didn't know this about women, or our own internalized wounding that we have within our own inner masculine and within our own inner feminine. And of course, this was playing a role when we were, thinking about, okay, what's our next step? What's the next project that we're going to dive into? And how it actually came to us to open Hieros Gamos Mystery School was that, well, first I just got the information during one of my morning meditations that I have to open a mystery school. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm not going to open a mystery school. I'm not ready for this yet. I don't want to do this. And then, but the message was very clear. And then I think 1 or 2 days later, I got the very clear message that it's not about just Priska, you have to open a mystery school. You too have to open a mystery school, because it's not just about the sacred feminine. It's also about the sacred masculine, and how we can bring those, bridge those genders within ourselves, bridge those things in our outside world, so that we can like really heal those woundings between men and women and really become strong together. Besides that,
it's really about co-creation. And I think when it really became more obvious that this was a new path that we should be going on, was when Priska started, because what she said, we have been working together with couples and with single men and single women. And then Priska started doing her first, or not her first, but again, she started to do a program with only women that she led, about the sacred feminine, and I started for the first time doing my man's work. And what became so incredibly clear for me, because what Priska said, there's so many woundings still between the feminine and the masculine. There are all these dogmatic thinkings and these these ideas based on trauma that we had to endure in this life, but also through our ancestral lineages. And when I was working with these men, I saw for the first time how beautifully vulnerable and open men can be when they are in a safe place. And that was for me this for me kickstarted the idea of, okay, I have seen this happening now and I recognize it within myself. Priska is doing that with the women. What we should do now is bring men and women together in a safe space so that they can also heal together, not only men with men and women with women. And of course, a big part of the mystery school will also be that I will do my work with men, Priska with her women, and then from time to time we come together. But it's really this divine co-creation. And I really think if we can jump in that void shoulder to shoulder in full equality, equality, that's a word, there we can create so much healing on a mondial level, and I really think that's just the next step, not only for us but for
everybody.
The world, society, humanity.
Yes. Yeah, because only together, right? Because it's also one of the Hermetic laws, everything has both genders. So everything that exists has both these energies within. And if we are in war or distrust constantly, it's just never going to create the peace we want to see in the world.
Oh, I love that. And it's going to make such a beautiful ripple effect across the world, across all the communities. And I think it's powerful too, just to see the different perspective. Like for me, a lot of, because I was raised and had a traumatic experience with the other gender, and I embodied my own masculine in a really toxic way. It was hard because I didn't even know what a healthy masculine looked like for a really long time. And so even just being in the same room, even just hearing your guys' words from the opposite gender, seeing how you embody it is such a paradigm shift.
Mm.
So in today's world, with everything happening, right? And there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of turmoil, there's a lot of division. And while we're seeing this collective shift of unity and it's starting to move, it can also be really hard to embody the sacred masculine and feminine. What does it look like in today's world to actually live in your sacred masculine or feminine?
That's a beautiful question. And of course, it's hard for me to give a cookie cutter answer to that because it's so diverse. But for me, it's just that you are able to live in honesty towards yourself first and foremost, and as a result of that, it will ripple out in the world and towards the people that are closely related to you. And like in my men's program, it's also not, I hate the idea of telling people a man should be this, a man should be XYZ, because that's not how it works. It really is about finding out what your masculine essence is. And when you know what that is, how can you translate that into your behavior, into your energy? How can you step into the world from your own essential masculine core? And this will look different for each and every guy. So for me, really honesty, but also curiosity towards yourself, because we have been raised up in certain ways and we have gotten imprints about what masculinity should look like or what femininity should look like. And I think it's important to really take the time to actively go within to see where these imprints still hold you in some sort of a stranglehold, and how you can undo yourself of that so that you can step more into you actually, being a man or a woman, being a woman that maybe feels more in her masculine, which is also okay. I also do not believe that women 100% of the time should constantly be in their feminine, because that's impossible. And how you can create this beautiful balanced dance within yourself between your inner masculine and your inner feminine. And again, how you can translate that into your day-to-day life and into the connection that you have with people or with your romantic partner. So it's really about finding your truth, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, I think it is connected a lot to reclamation, because of course we have been living in so-called patriarchy, right? And again, patriarchy is not against men, because patriarchy is just this suppression culture we have been living under, where also men have suffered because all feminine has been, suppressed and has been like cast out. So also within the men, so also men have lost their connection to their inner feminine. And I really believe it's really about reclaiming what has always been ours. And I think also with the suppression of the feminine, a lot of the magic, a lot of the power that we hold in our bodies, in our whole beings, has been just cast out and has been expelled, because of course there is like a reason behind that, why they didn't want us to feel powerful and want us to feel united. So this separation had to happen. So it's really about reclaiming those parts. And for me, being a sacred woman or man has so much to do with being connected, being connected to our bodies, being connected to our soul, being connected to each other, being connected to the divine, being connected to nature. It's really about restoring the connection to everything.
But also, sorry that I butt into you, but also reclaiming that it's not all light and beauty and joy,
Mhm.
but that we also have this darker part and these shadows. Because if we are not able to meet our shadows and also see them as a beautiful part within ourselves, then we somehow shove them down under, and then it will always play a part in the undercurrent, and people will feel that, and it will feel unsafe. So therefore, it's so important to also claim these darker parts within ourselves, the dark masculine and the dark feminine, because that's where I think the gold is, that we can alchemize more towards the light.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's powerful. Thank you for sharing. I think both of you, talked about the connection to self, the flow, the ability to really be with all the energies present and embrace it. And it just feels like a very open kind of an open picture of what it could look like, as long as you feel in alignment with your own truth and your own self. So I love that. I'm going to ask you both an individual question. And I'm going to start with Bas. So Bas, what would you say to a man listening to this episode who maybe doesn't feel in his powers, maybe feeling lost, maybe feeling chaotic? What are some steps he can take right here and right now to start feeling more into his masculine essence?
Good question. Well, the first thing that comes up in me is just slow down, because we live a very hasty life most of the time. We don't take time to really be with ourselves. Also, for many men, this is also scary, because we are mostly, and I'm generalizing now, we are not so much familiar with shadow work, with inner child work. And I really think it's key to make the first step to become acquainted with these modalities, and also start looking, okay, what can it bring me? And I'm not saying that you immediately have to do everything, but just start in a way that feels safe to you. Preferably just carve out each day 30 minutes for yourself, where you do not work, where you are not in contact with friends, wives, children, other family members, social media. Just go sit somewhere on a pillow and start, what's the word again? What you do, contemplating. Start contemplating and start feeling, okay, what comes up? And I can tell you, in the beginning, nothing will come up, and you will sit there on this cushion being irritated as fuck. But the more you will do that, the more things will show up. If you have a hard time doing that on your own, then what helped me, and what I also see now in the containers that I do with guys, is find your tribe of conscious man. Because I'm mind blown. Like, I just have started my men's container 1 week ago. We are in the second week now. All men that actually do not know each other, and my mind is blown by the openness, the vulnerability, because they feel safe with each other. And when they see, okay, this guy is sharing something very dark or something very scary, okay, that also gives me the openness to do that also. And the support and the brotherhood is so incredibly healing. I really always believe that if we as men are able or dare to bring our deepest shadows, our rage, our shame, our sadness, into a container with men, being witnessed by men, without judgment and without rejection, that already is 60% of the healing. So my advice would be, just take it slow and just start looking for little steps that you can make towards going more and more within. And you can do that on your own. There are many YouTube videos that you can watch with guided meditations. Or if you think, well, that's not really my thing, I really need someone who pushes me in a certain direction, just try and find your tribe. That's so important.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. I got emotional as you were talking about the brotherhood too, because I think it's something so many men are lacking right now, is a safe community to just be with all of themselves and not feel that toxic masculinity of being a tough guy and men don't cry.
Yeah.
It's just so powerful. Thank you. And for you, Priska, to the woman who is maybe feeling either too much or not enough and really just lost in this world, what would you say to her?
Oh, sister, you are not alone. This I can tell you, like so many of us feel like either too much or not enough. And that's the funny thing. We're not so different after all, right? Because also here, sisterhood can be so, so deeply healing by just being witnessed in your feelings and being whatever comes up, no matter how dark or how scary or also a light and also beautiful, you can just share it with somebody else, and being witnessed in just who you are today is so, so, so deeply, deeply healing. Because we don't talk enough about the sister wound, right? That is very, very deeply ingrained in our society, also based on the whole witch huntings and burnings that happened when, women who were considered witch were being burned. And if a woman was kind of pointing out another sister, she herself was kind of saved, right? And she was like, okay, my family and I are safe because I pointed out the woman, a witch, I'm sorry. And like this trust is still so deeply, deeply running in our society. And also, like, I see it myself, the biggest bullies I've ever had in my life were women. The people who, like, the most bullying I also got online, or, bullying, let's just call it bullying, but just like like trolls, let's call it trolls, were women, because of course hurt women hurt other people. And therefore I really think it's about restoring that trust also in sisterhood, knowing, hey, I have your back, sister. This is a safe place to share whatever is on your heart and on your mind, and I'm holding you. And like it's starting within ourselves, right? So that we also can have our own back, so that we can not judge ourselves for our bodies, for example. I mean, how many of us are standing in front of the mirror constantly pointing out the things we don't like? Oh, the cellulite, oh, the rolls, or oh, the wrinkles, or the white hair. And we're constantly focusing on these things, and also on what we feel. We feel like, oh, I shouldn't feel this way, or why do I always have to be so sensitive or jealous, or we just kind of punish ourselves constantly. And to also restore that trust that we have our own backs, that I can look in the mirror and say, yes, there are roles, and you're beautiful, that we can restore this self-love and self-compassion, that all our parts, also the childish parts or the jealous parts or the sexual parts, all these parts are being valued and are being safe, so that we can just start relaxing into being a woman and actually really taking the space to be who we truly are.
Yeah, it's so powerful, especially looking at the relationship with yourself and the sister wound of being able to feel like you have, just like with the men, a group of women that have your back, that see you, that accept you. And I think to both of your points, and for me personally, one of the things that helped me from getting so lost in relationships was not only solidifying that relationship with myself, but the more empowered relationships I had with the females in my life, the more I kind of held on to me, which was so beautiful.
Oh,
yeah.
So powerful. And especially if you have sisters who, it's not about, because back in the days, I remember also when I was younger, what we often did was gossiping, right? Like also like, oh, look at this, or all men are stupid, we don't need men, like also these kind of things that many women do, but just let that go. Also see, okay, where are we constantly judging also others, and have this real safe space where everything and anything is allowed, and it's okay to just feel the way you're feeling. And of course, sometimes you feel like, oh, I don't want to see a man at the moment at all, and it's okay. But knowing this is not the truth, and we don't have to build upon that and build this whole narrative about men are bad and only women are the right ones, or what I mean? Like, it's really about also what is the vessel that we're cultivating together, and what is the narrative that we want to write together as sisters. That's so that we feel safe, but that we also can stay open and soft, and really being in this wholeness of who we are.
Like a gentle reminder of your truth, and holding the space for it. Oh, it's so beautiful. So my final question to you as a couple, before we kind of broaden into the final parts of this interview, is what would you both say about whether you're looking for partnership or already in union, and maybe not feeling completely in sync or fulfilled, whether it's on your own or in relationship. How would you both speak to relationships in general, I guess?
Well, for me, it's always also there a balance. Like when I talk about what modern day masculinity should look like, it's always some sort of a balance between being hard and being soft. And I also see that translated in a relationship, because I also sometimes have to speak my truth. And of course, I do that in the most loving way towards Priska, but sometimes I have to do that because it's good for my growth and it's good for my safety. And then I have to speak sometimes some harsh words, which might not always be nice for Priska to hear.
Boundaries, right?
Or
Just
boundaries,
setting your
or
boundaries.
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And next to that, also keeping this beautiful, soft openness where you can communicate, where you can always reach each other on the other side. Because we know, and we, like, I'm Pisces, she's Aries, so water and fire, we have a lot of steam together. But we know every time that we are in a conflictuous situation, or when we are not fully aligned, that we always will know how to reach the other end again and how to reconnect. And that really has to do with staying curious towards each other, because mostly when you are in a relationship, you think that you know how your partner reacts in situation X, Y, Z. But each and every person grows. Every day we grow. With every inhale of breath, we alter, we transform already. So if you can keep that curiosity in the relationship and always come from that place, then you learn so much more about your partner. And as a result of that, as a reflection of that, also about yourself, and that you can pour into the relationship again. So it's really about holding space, creating time, slowing down, carving out time again. I think when you are in a relationship and you have jobs and kids and dogs and whatever, that it's so important to carve out time together, that when the kids are in bed, even if it's only once a week, that you on Friday evening carve out 1 hour where you can really connect, where people are allowed to speak their truth again. Yeah, and that you can really connect again on this not basic day-to-day level.
So I think there are three different kind of, like, what we have crystallized out in our work is that there are three different problems that you can have if you feel unsatisfied and you're not sure, should I stay or should I go, or why do I not have a partner, or something is just off. So it's either a personal challenge, where it's, for example, that you don't have you're not happy with yourself, you don't feel connected, you just have lack personal happiness, you just don't know, like, or you're going through something personally. Maybe there's a challenge with your past, that your past keeps playing into your current present, or it's truly a relationship problem, or you have, like, that you cannot hold a relationship, or that you keep attracting people who are not emotionally available or whatever, that there's like something in the relationship area that we are not aware of, or we're not aware of the patterns that are playing out, and it's a relationship issue. So it's really important to look, okay, where is the problem? I'm just calling it problem, even if I don't like this word so much, but like, is it really something, am I just not happy with myself? Am I not, is it that I constantly drag in my past into the now, or is it actually really a thing between my partner and I? And we even like have our whole shop is actually built upon these three issues, is it this, that, or this one? And then it's different kind of work, right? It's different bodies of work if you're having a relational problem, or if you realize, hey, I actually don't feel fulfilled within me, or I don't have a good spiritual practice, or I feel totally disconnected from everything, or my past trauma keeps popping up. It's just a different kind of way to work. But it's important to figure that out for yourself first. Okay, what is actually my problem? We have a challenge. A challenge. We have a quiz where you can actually find that out, where you see, okay, which archetype I am. But in the end, it's also about, okay, where is my biggest challenge in my love life? So when you have that determined, it gives you more ideas how to go from there. Do I have to, for example, look for a more spiritual community that I feel safe in, or do I need trauma therapy, or do I need to look into, okay, what actually are my beliefs about men or women, or is it like, okay, how can I learn about my partner? How can I learn about relating healthier, about communication, about these things? And when you know where you're at, then you can act upon the challenge you're currently facing.
Yeah.
Wow. Woo, you gave us so much gold today. I feel like wherever each individual was at, whether single or in union or just facing something hard, we can take so much from all the gold you guys shared today. So thank you so much. And I'd love for you to take some time to just speak about your school, about why people should join, how it benefits them, what they get out of it, and basically everything you could tell us.
All right. Well, what is important for me to tell, what I want to share, is that everything is welcome. We are not people who are going to say, okay, this is what you should do, or this is the image that you have to move into. It's really about showing up with everything that you are, including all the shadows, including all your light, your medicine, your beauty, your quirks, your issues, everything. In the men's container, and maybe Priska can share something about the women's container later. In the men's container, it's really about going into certain topics. What is it to be a sacred masculine in today's world? And that can go into all kinds of direction. Of course, I will always prepare something. There will be a teaching, and there always will be some sort of a sharing round. Those are different live meetings that we will have. And you can also bring your own issues in, because I'm very, very flexible there. And I always believe that the right men come together who have the same topics. So it's about you. Share yourself, bring yourself in, and then we go from there. And it's really about just day-to-day problems, about sexuality, about sensuality, about how can I communicate better with my spouse, about what can I do when I'm in conflict and I feel that my heart is completely closed off, how can I reopen it again? But also more going into sacredcy or sacredness. What kind of spiritual practices can we do as men to be more grounded, to be more of service for the feminine? How can we as men create a safe place where both females and men can heal together? We also will go into the holy days of the wheel of the year, talking about Imbolc, about Samhain, Midsummer. These things we also will celebrate. So we will do ceremonial work
together as women and masculine, by the way, of like the men and women come together. Maybe a basic oversight, there will be a men's group and a women's group, and we meet twice a month for these gatherings online. This is a question we often get. It's all online. It's all happening online, and there will be replays from everything that we do. And then every 3 months we meet men and women, and we learn from each other. We come together in these sacred gatherings, and we learn from each other, and we exchange. And there will be also Facebook groups for the men and the women together, but also just for the women and just for the men. And then also what Bas just mentioned, we come together as men and women to celebrate all these beautiful holy days of the wheel of the year, to also connect to nature. We give also ideas how you can celebrate maybe with your families later on, so that you have this deeper connection also to nature and the cycles of the year.
Yeah, and it's called the Hieros Gamos School because it's really about cultivating that sacred marriage, first and foremost within, between your own inner yin and yang, or inner feminine and masculine, but also later on in connection with a significant other, or maybe with your wife if you already are in a relationship. So it's really about cultivating that sacred marriage, the Hieros Gamos. And what kind of tools do you need? What can you bring into the container to create more expansion there, and to look for ways how you can move forward individually, but also together with the beautiful females in your life?
So it's everybody who is watching this thinks, oh, this is something for me. Like the Hieros Gamos Mystery School is really for the people who want to, the women who want to understand themselves better, the men who want to understand themselves better, to really, who am I as a woman? Who am I as a man? And to really also in our feminine vessel, or the groups, that we're also going to discover ancient stories and about the sacred feminine, and also like reclaiming these things that have been just swiped under the carpet, that we have been stolen off, and to just, hey, this is also a truth that you might want to look at. Again, it's very non-dogmatic. It's just, we are sharing, of course, we're sharing our truth, we're sharing what we believe in, but this doesn't mean that you have to just take it as your truth. No, it's like a buffet. You just take what you like, and maybe you just try something new, and maybe you like it, you don't, but it's really about also this deep like exploration within your own soul. Who am I? What does it mean for me to walk as a sacred woman on this earth? How can I feel more connected in my life? Because what I have seen in many, many women, and also in my surroundings, that we often feel very disconnected, and we feel like, is this all? You know, yeah, I have kids, yeah, I have a husband maybe, but there's something missing. I feel like there's just, there's something missing. And what I came to learn, or from that's true for me, what I have been missing for a very long time, is this connection with my sacredcy, is this connection with nature, with my, like this ancient knowing that is within me, but we have never learned it, because our mothers didn't learn it, and their mothers also didn't learn it, and it just kind of got lost. And to reclaim that, and to make this just in your own practice, whatever that means for you. It doesn't have to be this whole thing with big fires in the garden and dancing naked under the moonshine. It can be just something very small, like just honoring, the change of the cycle, or your own cycle when you're still menstruating. And just these little things can have a huge impact on your mental health, on your physical health, on just how you feel as a woman. And of course, when you as a woman feel differently, your whole family will feel differently, because your kids will feel this. And it just has such a ripple effect, I believe, if we are reclaiming those parts within ourselves that have been maybe suppressed or have been shamed by ourselves and society, and just become this whole woman again.
Yeah, it's when I think of the Hieros Gamos School, I always see it as some sort of a spiritual wine tasting. We offer a lot. You just sip and sip until you find your favorite flavors. And we do that in a very grounded way, because we both know, actually, or believe that spirituality is not something up there, but it's here. This is where the spirituality is. It runs through our veins. It is in our hearts, in our skin, in our organs, in our feet when we stand on the ground. So it's really in a very grounded way, and it's all about embodiment. I know of myself, when I was younger, I was running from course to course, read self-help book after self-help book, but I didn't take the time to fully integrate it and really embody it. And then most of the time it didn't bring me anything. So the focus will also really be about embodiment, slowing down, taking the time to consciously filter it through your experience and your humanness to make it your own.
Yeah. And of course, like the whole Hieros Gamos aspect also of the masculine and feminine, what we've talked about earlier, that we learn from each other, that we also see, okay, what have you been busy with this moon? What have we been busy this moon? And just come together and have this exchange to learn from each other in a sacred and safe space where men can show up in their truth, and they don't have to perform, right? It's not about, oh, you look how masculine I am. It's just but being truthful, and the female doesn't have to manipulate, or oh my goodness, or just showing up raw and real, and then see, okay, what's there, what's true, what's real here, right?
Yeah.
So this alchemy can happen within ourselves, but also in the community. So that's the idea behind Hieros Gamos Mystery School. It's really about finding your masculine, finding your femininity, and finding this beautiful sacred marriage. And it's, by the way, also, you don't have to be in a relationship. You can also come when you're single. Like, it's totally free. You can just come no matter also what your sexual orientation is. You don't have to be hetero in order to come here. But I think that's it.
Oh my
Go
goodness.
on forever.
I am so excited for it. I literally can't wait to start. I'm so excited to share this with all of my community. And I'm just going to say, if you are thinking about it, Bas and Priska are, I mean, you can see just from watching this video, the energies they embody, the way that they play off of each other, the way they love each other, even in the stillness. It's so powerful. If you, wherever you're at in relationship or single, this is such a powerful place to be. I've learned so much just from following you, watching your posts, the small interactions we've had. So join their Hieros Gamos School. You can find all of the links below wherever you're watching or listening to this podcast. And Bas and Priska, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
thank you so much, sister, for having us. And it's really, really an honor also to have you in our school. And thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Thank you guys. As always, breathe deep and plan on miracles. See you next time.